way founders raise capital is about to change forever. There is a huge shift coming inside of capital markets. This applies to first-time fund managers, capital raisers, and even founders who are looking to raise their first bits of rounds. For anyone who's using outreach to get in contact with investors, we are entering a brand new era. The good news is that there's still possible ways to win that didn't exist months ago. I know this because I spend every single day speaking to allocators or their family offices, institutional investors, or even pension and endowment funds. I have an idea of what's going on within the space. We facilitated over $70 million in transactional term sheets. We've booked over 270 investor meetings globally from private credit funds, family offices, VCs, and private equity. And I'm starting to see a shift within the capital market that is not visible to the common folk. So in this video, I'm going to break down the exact trends that I'm seeing within the market and the way Claude has changed everything from the way founders are approaching investors. And I'll break down the exact systems and prompts so that you and your team can start using this within minutes. Let's get right into it. Before I show you the system, I need you to understand why the old approach just doesn't work anymore. Most founders think investor outreach is just a copywriting problem. They go from A/B split testing on their subject lines, on the body hook CTA, and they spend hours breaking down on how their email looks when that wasn't even the issue at all. The copywriting was never the problem. The timing was. Investors are not always open for business. It's not a 7-Eleven shop where you just walk in, grab your chips and leave. Every fund operates on operational cycles. There are windows where they are actively deploying into mandates, taking risk, betting on founders, and there are windows and cycles where they are managing their portfolio companies, IPO exits, liquidations, or overall an M&A event. Outside of the deployment window, your email just doesn't matter to anyone. They are not investing. It's that simple. You can only get in contact with them to maybe create a relationship. And here's the thing that makes it worse. They'll never tell you this on a call. They'll never say, hey, I'm actually not investing right now. I just want to hop on a call with you to get an idea of what's going on in the market. I've actually deployed around 150 million within the last 3 years. And now I want to make sure that I have a good track record and IRA. And why is this? Because they want to stay close to deal flow. They want to have an idea of what founders are going through. What are the mandates within the market? What is shifting and changing? So when they do come to the time they need to deploy again after they raise for their funds and they have their exits, they have an idea of how to allocate for that exact moment. So you spend 3, 4, 5 months setting up these meetings, going on calls about 5-10 a week, and wasting your time at sanity while they just come back with sharp questions or the timing is just not right. We're not looking at deployments within your sector, or your revenue is not where we want it to be. Maybe grow a little bit more and come back later. And this is exactly why most capital raises take over 9 to 12 months to close out. It's not because your business or your firm just doesn't look good on paper, you're not hitting revenue, or you don't have that specific moat in the industry. It's because the timing of the context was just off. And all this comes back to founders pitching to investors within windows where they are not actively deploying. However, Claude changes all of this now. There is a huge shift in the market coming. It's actually already here. Let me show you exactly how to use Claude to identify which investors are actively deploying and how to find their information to start booking meetings that will lead to term sheets. The first thing you need to do is identify the investors that are actively in a deployment window right now. So what you're going to do is open up your Claude and you're going to put in this prompt. You are an investor signal analyst. I am raising for a Series A, do whatever you're raising for, a Series A round, and I have a specific type of firm. I need you to help me identify which signals a family office or VC firm would actively show, then help me find them within a public setting. Break down the data sources I should be checking and using for my own outreach. Now, what Claude is going to do is give you an exact breakdown on what you should be tracking. But here are the 8 signals I've found so far that works the best. Recent portfolio announcements. If there are 3 or more announcements of mandates within the last 60 days, it definitely means that this firm is actively deploying right now. Form D filings. This means that there has been fresh capital coming in. When a fund raises money from an LP, that could be a accredited investor or a family office, they have to file with the SEC, and this is public data for you to track down. Fund vintage timing. This is going to help you figure out where a fund is within their window cycle of deployments. If they are in deployment, if they're in management, or if they are looking to raise for that next fund. You're able to track this down by understanding the vintage of the fund, the timing year. Sector mandate shifts. This will help you understand if a investor is within a specific sector or looking around. Have they had 4 investments in biotech, or are they all over the place? This will help you track down on which fund or VC or family office you should be talking to actively. Personnel changes. This will help you understand if there's a new CIO, a deal origination team, anything going on internally that will help you indicate that they are looking to structure out the way they originate deals, as well as if there is a new structure coming out when it comes to deal flow. Let's say they've been to about 6 biotech conferences in the last 3 months. Looks like they're interested in biotech. And that is a conversation that will eventually lead to a term sheet. Take this list that I just told you and put it back into Claude. Based on these signals, help me research and find out where my investors can come from. Help me understand exactly if they are in deployment of capital or if they are managing their portfolio companies right now. Here is my list. For each one, tell me how you can identify public sources and rate their likelihood of being active within a deployment window on a scale of 1 to 10. Now, all you're gonna do now after that prompt is paste in your investor list. Now, Claude will go through each one and tell you if it's worth speaking to them, throwing out messages their way, or avoiding them at this current moment. So from a list of 200, now you're down to 20, 30 active conversations that are worth having tomorrow. That alone is going to drastically change your positive reply rate and book you calls that will eventually turn into transactions. Now, the only thing is finding the right investors at the right time is only half of the battle. The second half comes out when you have to decide what you want to tell these investors. And this is exactly where Claude will come, since it's so overpowered with specific copyright. And on we go to part 2, investor identification. Now that you have a short list of investors, now you have to build out a specific profile on each one of them. Give Claude this prompt and it's going to build out a profile based on your investors on hand. I am prepping to outreach to investor name based on their recent portfolio activity, fund focus, and public information. Help me build a brief profile that covers their current sector focus, their typical check size and stage, recent investments they made, any mandate shifts you can identify, and the most compelling reason why my company will be relevant to them right now. Now, what Claude will do is synthesize everything you just mentioned into a brief that you can personalize for your outreach. Not just their first name or the company they work at, but their current mandate, the deployments they're making, where they are within their vintage fund, conferences that they are attending, and a likelihood of what type of sector they might want to focus on at a high scale, which is the best reason why your deal would make the most sense for them right now. That level of personalization alone moves the needle in ways you can't even imagine. Now that you have a profile done, you know which investors to target based on timing and signals. Now let's go on to part 3, personalized outreach generation. Now that you're ready to write the actual message, now give Claude Code this exact prompt. I am a founder raising a, put in your seed round, put in your industry. I am reaching out to firm name and firm person. Here is their investor profile. Make sure you include that in. Here are the active deployment signals I've identified for them. Write me a cold outreach email that references why this conversation makes sense right now based on their current mandate, deployment signals, and keep it under 150 words. No fluff, lead with the signal, make it impossible for them to think this is a generic email coming from a pre-seed founder. Now, what comes back will be completely different from any email that you have sent personally. This email is not personalized around your company or generic information of their company, but specific mandates that they are allocating into. You're showing up at the exact moment that they would want to even be speaking to you. And that's where the term sheets will get finalized. Part 4, the deal brief. This is the part that most founders skip out on, and it's the one that closes a gap between a response and a booked meeting. Every outreach message should be accompanied with a deal brief, a short document of why your mandate, your most relevant right now for them. So what you're gonna do is give Claude Code this exact prompt. Create a deal brief for my investor outreach to investor name. The brief should cover a 1-paragraph summary of my company, why the timing is right for this conversation based on signals, why my deal fits their current mandate, the specific opportunity I am bringing to them, and a clear next step. Keep it to 1 page. Write it as if you were a seasoned investment banker preparing context for a warm introduction. Now, before you even send this mandate, you are going to ask for permission. You're going to have your copy, and the CTA is going to be, would you mind if I sent over a quick 1-pager going over my X, Y, and Z? Because if we are doing cold outreach, we do not want to include links or any type of attachments on that first message, or we will be flagged, blacklisted, and burnt. A waste of time, energy, and sanity. This alone will increase your positive reply rate, book meetings, and interested investors who are willing to turn term sheets into bank wires that clear the bank. Now I want to show you what happens when you start adding following up sequences to this system. Because most founders and fund managers, they give up after that first email. No responses, done deal. In fact, you should be adding follow back replies. You should be adding a specific sequence to reply rates that are coming back. If they are not saying they're not interested, throw them into a LinkedIn campaign, Use an all-bound approach. If you contact someone multiple times, you show that you are serious. Curiosity increases because they fear on missing out. 5 to 6 multiple touch points across an all-bound approach. Email, LinkedIn, X, cold calling, and in my case, warm calling. Now let's get straight into it. Here's how to actually use Claude to make your follow-up intelligent rather than irrelevant and annoying and just being persistent for no reason. So we're gonna give Claude this exact prompt right now. I sent an initial outreach email to investor name on date. Help me write a 5-touch follow-up sequence that references a new signal or development, adds new value with each touch point, never feels like a generic follow-up, builds urgency naturally without being pushy, and space the touches from 4 to 7 days apart. Each follow-up, Claude would reference something new. A new portfolio announcement, a recent Form D filing, new internal staff updates, whether that's a new CIO, deal origination team, IR team, a relevant market development. This is the difference between a follow-up that gets marked as a positive reply to a booked meeting versus the one that gets marked as spam and blocked away. Now let's go over exactly what happens when you start using a system like this for your own investor relations outreach. When you stop guessing and start using a deliberate system that is backed by data and signals, these are the first 3 things that you're gonna notice. First, your reply rate is gonna go up drastically, and it's not because you have better copywriting now, but because everyone you're reaching out to has an active signal that you are touching on. You're not wasting messages on investors on closed deployment windows anymore. Second, your conversations are going to be completely different, and this is the reason why. They see you as a true operator of the market. They know you're tracking down their mandates, their allocations, their filings, their personnel changes, taking a look at where they have been in from conferences and global summits. You might be kind of like a stalker, but they can tell that you've done your homework and you mean game. And third, your timeline is going to significantly decrease. The reason most fundraisers take from 9 to 12 months plus to close out on is not because they have a bad product, but because they have a system that is missing actual intent. They are not tracking any of these signals, and they are just hard pointing, spray and praying investor outreach. When you only pitch to open windows, that timeline is going to decrease no matter what. We have seen fund managers and founders close out on their rounds from 24 weeks without having a crazy amount of relations on the back end, institutional backing, or being from a wealthy family of the 1%. So now that we came to the end of this, we want to talk about a few things. Claude did not just make email faster. It did not help out cold email agencies alone. Claude made the entire investor relations outreach that much easier. Investor profiles, copywriting, follow-up sequences, deal flow briefs. All of this can be built and run with the correct prompts. Now, from everything that I mentioned, from the prompts and the AI agents within Claude, I made an entire end-to-end document on how to use it, how to set it up, and how to use it for your own investor outreach. The link is going to be in the description below. Go grab it for yourself. And if you want us to run this entire system for you end to end, identifying which investors are actively deploying right now, figuring out if their mandates are within your sector, within your fund type, and getting you in front of those conversations by facilitating introductions with a signal-driven approach, then book a call below. We do this every single day. If you want to be in the right room with the right people without wasting weeks and months of your life insanity, then me and my team will walk you through the due diligence on exactly how to get there. I'll see you in the next one.